The Core Principles of Tap Dance, Building Efficient Technique from the Start. Episode 4, Speed, Pathways, How to Practice.
Hi, my name is Sandra Kuga and I'm a New York City-based tap artist. I've been immersed in tap for about 18 years and teaching for over 10. I've been fortunate to share my craft with audiences and students around the world, and now I want to share some of my insights with you. Having helped students of all levels gain confidence in their technique, I started noticing certain patterns that are universally applicable to pretty much any step. All too often, I see students learn only the what and not the proper how of tap technique, which leads to a lot of roadblocks as they progress in their journey, spending hours and hours taking class and practicing without seeing noticeable results, and staying stuck in the same level for years. My philosophy is based on the notion that if we practice efficient technique from day one, we can see sustainable progress as we move along. So if you're a tap student, no matter if you've been at it for a day or a decade, and you want to take your skills and confidence to the next level, this video series is for you. In the Core Principles of Tap Dance, I will give you all the tools necessary to master pretty much any step. The series is not about me teaching the steps themselves, but rather the underlying patterns with which we can approach any footwork. Just one more quick thing before we dive in. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all my teachers who have supported me in becoming the person and artist I am today. Without them, I would not be able to share these insights with you today. That being said, let's get started. Alright, in the final video of the series, I want to touch on a few loose ends. The first one being pathways.
Something that really helps with flow and continuity is considering the pathways of your feet. If you keep your feet parallel the entire time, it's kind of hard to really get into a groove, and your range of motion is quite limited to a small box. What helps here is traveling diagonally. We achieve these diagonal motions by turning out a little bit from our upper thigh. Now, I don't mean this is not ballet. What I mean is the natural, comfortable rotation of our leg. Since every body is different, the most efficient angle will be dependent on your anatomy. If you're naturally more turned out, it might be a wider angle than if you're naturally less turned out. A step that demonstrates this concept really well is the Shirley Temple time step. Ideally, you play the step without ever leaving your diagonal. You just travel forward and backward on it. So you start with the flap in the front diagonal, you do your heel change, then as you go back, you do that same diagonal backwards, then same thing with the left side, go forward, then backward, front diagonal, back diagonal, front diagonal, back diagonal. But even for less complex steps, this concept is very helpful. Take shuffles, for example. You get way more space if you angle them slightly diagonally rather than perfectly parallel. Now, there's no right or wrong pathways here, but you always want to make sure you take the path that's most efficient and produces the best sound possible. Speed.
Alright, a lot of you are probably thinking, yeah, all this technique is great and stuff, but how do I get super fast, super quick so I can impress everyone around me? Well, I hate to be that person, but as with so many things, there's no shortcut to getting fast. If you want to be clean, that is. If you go too fast too quickly, you risk looking and sounding more like the person that says, "Oh, you tap dance? Like this?" than like someone who actually knows what they're doing and who preserves the dignity of tap. But here are a few tips for how you can work your way up to clean speed. Firstly, practice slow. I know. Not what you want to hear, not exciting, very boring, but, and allow me to get inspirational for a second. We can only build a great life if we can delay gratification. It's like cold showers or an intense workout. They might not be the most enjoyable things right in that moment, but they give you an amazing feeling after and also contribute to an improved life quality long term in a sustainable way. On the other hand, the things that give you instant gratification, like the 5th cookie or the 300th like on your Instagram post, don't really contribute to your long-term satisfaction at all. But back on topic. Why does practicing slowly help you get faster? Because what you practice when you practice slowly is control. It allows the motions and the interplay of all the different things that need to happen at the same time to metabolize into your subconscious, into your muscle memory. There's a great book by Daniel Kahneman called Thinking Fast and Slow. Slow thinking essentially is the conscious thoughts we can witness ourselves forming in real time, such as, It's 2 p.m. now. I need to be at the studio at 4. It'll take me 30 minutes to get there, so I'll have to leave here at 3:30. Whereas fast thinking refers to the automatic thoughts that are generated at a level that's removed from our conscious perception. For example, the automatic recognition of a familiar face or the involuntary associations we experience when we see a familiar brand logo. Ideally, when we tap, we want our technique to exist in the fast thinking space. Otherwise, it'll be like this. Okay, so first I need to put my weight on my left foot. I need to make sure that I'm bending my left foot. Oh, right, my ankle should be relaxed. Oh, right, and I also need to lean away. Not very efficient, if you ask me, and impossible to go beyond a medium slow speed at best. So by practicing slowly and deliberately, you'll ingrain all the different elements that make up your motions into your subconscious. You will notice that after a while, you will think less and less until you reach a point where you could literally do this motion in your sleep. Only then can you hope to increase the speed because you've made it past the point of consciousness. Since we're on the topic of cultivating the smartest and most efficient habits, I want to mention a few things about practicing.
How to practice.
1. How much should I practice? A question that comes up a lot. Instead of hitting a certain length of your practice sessions, aim for consistency. It is much more effective to spend 5 minutes every day on something than 3 hours once every 2 weeks. If you cultivate consistency, you will feel more in it and find that you'll probably keep processing things in between practice sessions, simply because the thing you're practicing is on your mind more often and integrated into your daily life rather than compartmentalized away. You'll also have an easier time starting, which is usually the hardest part, because you'll create a habit that after a while you don't even have to think about anymore. Plus, what sounds more achievable, 5 minutes or 3 hours of practicing? And chances are that if you set the bar to 5 minutes, you'll actually go for longer more often than not, just like a gateway drug. Maybe scratch that last part. 2, practice within a music context. Of course, we want to spend time really getting a hang of the mechanics first. But as soon as you have that, I highly recommend you not just practice the bare technique. Rather, find ways to put your technique into a music context, because then you'll have a much easier time applying your skills. Let's say you're practicing paradiddles. Don't just do them until you get faster and faster. There are so many ways to practice them within a musical grid. For example, you can practice them in different subdivisions with a metronome, such as 8th notes or 16th notes, or you can play around with putting pauses in different parts of the step. Or you can pick a song you know and play the melody with paradiddles only. The idea is to create the habit, but then not get stuck in it. You want to feel comfortable with a basic version of your vocabulary and then find ways to put it into ever new contexts, which gives you a great deal of flexibility and independence. 3. Record yourself. No matter if you take group classes or practice by yourself, you have to listen to yourself. We easily get an inaccurate impression of what we sound like in the moment we're playing. That's why I highly recommend you taking an audio and or video recording of yourself when you practice. Now, both of these options will give you different insights. A video will help you spot mechanical inefficiencies in your technique. For example, not shifting your weight quickly enough or tilting your hips in a weird way. An audio recording, on the other hand, will help you really listen to yourself. Be prepared to be humbled if you're doing it for the first time, but it will greatly help connect your motions to the sound you're going for. You could do different takes in which you try different things or play with different qualities for the same step. So, for example, soft and loud or light and dark, etc. And this concludes this 4-part series on the core principles of tap. I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments how all this is working for you. And if you're into any trouble, have questions, or requests on future topics, feel free to write them in the comments as well. Now, if you'd like to support me, the best way to do so is by subscribing to my channel, liking, commenting, and sharing it with your friends. That also tremendously helps me keep making these free videos. If you'd like to dive even deeper, consider checking out the educational content on my website. You can also subscribe to my newsletter called Tap to Expand for free to get lesson videos, early access to new courses, subscriber-only offers, and more. It's a once-a-month collection of free resources I don't share anywhere else. And if you want personalized feedback and guidance, I also offer virtual private lessons. You can find all the info in the video description below. Thank you everyone for watching. Happy practicing, and see you soon.